McConnell versus Trump. A new report today from the White House and insiders claim that there was no disagreement, no feud on Friday about the $1.8 trillion offer from Steve Mnuchin, claiming the GOP is aligned, is united on that number, and did have consent and support for that number. So the question is, when the Senate reopens, would there be a deal? And would the Senate actually put forward a $1.8 trillion offer as a bill? And meantime, great news as FPUC gets larger under Steve Mnuchin's offer. Oh, it's a good day. It's great information. This is unemployment assistance, and it's also McConnell versus Trump. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is great news on a Monday afternoon. This is part of our 2-hour programming block every day here on Afternoons LALATE. This video is McConnell versus Trump in the unemployment time slot as renewed optimism about your second stimulus heats up with great news on two fronts. First, in this video, I'll be going over the higher offer from Steve Mnuchin, which was detailed more last night and today in leaked data from NBC. Second, I will be going over the new explanation and twists and turns that apparently the GOP was not fighting over the 1.8 number in the Senate, but actually was supporting it. Additionally, I'll be going over the twists and turns of FPUC versus LWA and that $100 threshold. Let's get to the breaking details. The breaking details of this here today is that Steve Mnuchin's FPUC offer from Friday was good. It was very, very good. It was $400 a week. Now, I want you to understand that there's a couple of variables whenever we talk about FPUC 2.0. It's the amount per week, it's the weeks that it expands over, and the period of retroactivity. So the first thing is the amount. It's $400 a week. That amount is really not changed. $400 a week is the same number that Steve Mnuchin offered in July. So if you think about it, it's 10 weeks since Steve made that offer, and Nancy rejected it. So you would have had $4,000 in your bank account now. Yeah, she kept $4,000 in your bank account. She's holding out for $600 a week, a number which no one's going to give you. No one's going to agree to at $600 a week. Now, ultimately, the question is how long is she going to do this $600 a week thing? She would have to hope for two events to happen. Biden wins and the Senate goes Democrat. And so basically, she's going to wait and give you $600 a week in February next year. So is she going to do retroactive for FPUC back to July, and then suddenly states are going to pay you July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. They're going to pay you 8 months retroactive? Okay, let's assume she keeps it currently where she is now. Her current proposal is FPUC 2.0 retroactive to September 5th. Okay, well, no one's going to pay $600 a week under the Temple Dunes proposal. So what do we do under her idea? What is her strategy? Her strategy is to wait till Biden wins and the Senate goes Democrat. Well, that means that you wouldn't get your payments until upwards of February next year anyway, and they'd be retroactive to September. Okay, that's September, October, November, December, January, February, March. That's 7 months. Is she really going to do 7 months retroactive, which is 7 times 4, 28 weeks retroactive of FPUC? I'll give you a 1-cent bet that she's never, ever going to do anything retroactive for 35 weeks. It's just a way to, again, have states not pay your benefits. And it's ultimately a way for states to keep the money and not pay you, for the federal government to keep the money and not pay you the money that you're supposed to be getting. Now, let's talk about Mnuchin. $400 a week, incredibly good offer. But it's not the problem solver's bill. There's a lot of things that are great about Steve Mnuchin's FPUC offer and a few things that need fixing. The great things are, one, it's $400 a week. Second, it expands the period of eligibility. So it expands it to mid-January, which is much later. Steve Mnuchin's prior offer was late December. So this is all really great news. The other thing that's really great news is that there is a retroactivity provision in it. Now, here are the two things that need to be fixed. First, the retroactive date is September 12th. I mean, really, Steve, can we talk? Come on now. It needs to be retroactive to late July. Second, the amount of the weekly is not what the problem solvers offered. So the problem solvers were $450 for 8 weeks, and then 5 weeks at $600, although it's a little bit more complicated than that, but they were shorter, so they would have ended in late December. Ultimately, I see an issue with this retroactive date to September. One, you're going to lose all benefits for FPUC in the month of August, but you're going to pick them up at the other side. I don't like that because more people are unemployed in July, presumably, than what could happen in January. We just don't know if you're unemployed yet in January. You were unemployed in July, so you should get those benefits. Additionally, I think he should be higher. I mean, if you say you're going to co-sign the problem solvers bill, why are you at $400 when the problem solvers were $450 initially for 8 weeks? Next, LWA. LWA and FPUC are not bosom buddies. I mean, they don't go hand in hand. So LWA's dates and FPUC's dates mean much of nothing. FPUC was part of a federal program that came from Treasury under CARES Act 1. FPUC 2.0 is the same thing. LWA, however, was an executive order using existing funds from CARES Act 1 that were sitting at FEMA that the president repurposed in a case of emergency. And a lot of people didn't qualify for LWA because of a $100 threshold. So why are we starting FPUC after LWA stops? It doesn't make sense. First, LWA doesn't stop the same way in every single state. Second, not every state paid the same number of weeks of LWA. Third, a lot of people didn't get LWA. Fourth, LWA was an emergency thing that the president gave us. This should not be replacing that or coming after it. And so as you sit here today, it's important to understand that everyone wants to give you this LWA, but they're just not, or FPUC, but they're just not getting it done right. Now, McConnell versus Trump, my goodness. On Friday, there was all this chitter-chatter that there was a real big dissent in the GOP about this $1.8 trillion deal. And what's important to understand with this dissent is that it claimed the overall amount of $1.8 trillion was too high, that the Republicans were disowning it, and they did not support it. Well, today the White House basically pushed back and said that conversation never happened. It was a report that claimed that Lamar Alexander and Lee and Blackburn, who are all, many of them are very in the news today. Senator Lee is in the House subcommittee Barrett hearings days after getting COVID with, sitting there next to people. Charming. Really, really crazy. I mean, are they spraying the place? It's just like insane. But tonight, all eyes are on WKRC in Cincinnati. No, that's WKRP. WKRC. Kentucky voters will get their first and potentially only chance to see Mitch McConnell debate. Okay, he's going to debate with Democratic challenger Amy McGrath on Monday night, if I understood this report right. The debate comes early. In-person voting started across Kentucky ahead of a November 3rd election. They will square off at the Fancy Farm Picnic. They would have squared off at the Fancy Farm Picnic. I'm still fixated at the Fancy Farm Picnic. Which chicken... but they're not a Fancy Farm Picnic. There was no lobsters there. Previewing the debate, McConnell said last week there'd be no notes, no props, no audience, just a moderator. And McGrath said, it's important for voters to see the opportunity to hear directly from the candidates. Okay. McConnell's up for a 7th term, and he's leading in the polls. What's important for you to understand is that McConnell is likely going to win his Senate seat, but that doesn't mean he'll be back as majority leader. The way it works is that if the Senate loses a certain number of seats, and it's about 3 or 4, to the Democrats, then the Senate will turn Democrat, and the Democrats will have the majority in the Senate, and hence it won't be Mitch McConnell majority leader, because the Republicans won't be the majority. It will be Democrats as the leader, and so there'll be a Democratic majority leader, which is not Mitch McConnell because he's a Republican. The telecast will be on Gray Television and WKRT TYVT. if I got that right. However, Kentucky voters, they do happen to have a senator that has an enormous amount of power because he's a Senate Majority Leader, says Gray Media's chief national political analyst, Greta Van Susteren. Analysts across the country are watching the race between McConnell and retired Lieutenant Colonel McGrath. The debate is on 7 o'clock tonight, WKY-TV. You can also watch it live on Facebook or WKY-TV or Roku, Amazon, if I got the dates correctly. Hopefully it's this Monday. Hopefully it wasn't last Monday. I missed the article correctly, but I think I got it right. Boy, it is a day in which there's a lot of twists and turns. And what you need to understand is that the focus really is executive orders. The focus is getting things done by executive orders. And McConnell is an example of how it complexes the situation by thinking about, okay, let's just do the stimulus after the election. No. If Trump loses and the Democrats gain control of the Senate, then the hope for second stimulus the day after the election is very complicated because those people don't leave town. They're still sitting there. They're called lame ducks. And then ultimately, will they give you stimulus in the month of November, December, while they're sitting around waiting for the next people to come in to take their room and their chair in their office? I don't know. It's ultimately a thing I just don't see at the moment. It could change if the Republicans retain control of the Senate but lose the White House, then what? Also don't understand that situation either. When I mean I don't understand, I mean I just don't see the path yet. And so the reason why executive orders is so important for the purposes of FPUC is to get them done right now. Now, if you're on unemployment assistance, which I hope you are, if you qualify, or if you're on FPUC or LWA or PUA, make sure that you use the benefits of the delegates. These are people who are self-appointed, who are here to help you, guide you through the uncertainty about how to do unemployment in your states. Ultimately, I've done an unemployment video every single day of this channel. I've done one on enhanced unemployment benefits and retroactive benefits and switching from PUA to UI, and I've done them for Uber and Lyft and how Uber and Lyft are misclassified sometimes. I've done it for understanding how to do escalated benefits versus maximum benefits. I've done it when there's very complex issues about how you have to be disqualified for one before you qualify for another. But ultimately, all that may be slightly different in your respective state, and that's the purpose of a delegate. A self-appointed individual you can find on Twitter that is using the hashtag of P, like purple, then the two letters of your state, space, hashtag LALATE. So for example, Florida, hashtag PFL space, hashtag LALATE. And look and see if there's someone there that can help answer your questions. I'm still getting on a regular basis people that send me very, very kind messages in DM about their UI and their PUA. And, you know, if a channel has 40,000 comments a day on the channel and on social media, there's absolutely no capacity for one person to answer your UI and PUA questions. There simply is not. And that's including reading your comments on air. So what's important to do is reach out to those people, and that's the spirit of this community. And if you are able to provide assistance to other people in your community, then go on Twitter and tweet out and say, hey, here I am. Come and get me and hear and ask me questions. Always keep your financial information in private, in instant message. Don't post public information. Don't post your financial information on public social media platforms. Go to the front of this channel, subscribe because we're really here to help one another get through it together, and we will. And also like this video. Coming up next is Pelosi versus Mnuchin. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay valid for more.